Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How are all of you lovely souls out there? To say that I'm burning the candle at both ends would be an understatement. So I apologize for not getting to you as fast as I can. I'm pretty well backed up here because we've been moving, doing some things, and haven't been able to sit down and talk with you much. So, boy, do I really apologize. I've been talking to a lot of you on the phone, and I tell you what, I can always tell a YouTuber on the phone because the love just comes right through that phone. I'm going, oh, good, oh yeah, good. And that's another reason I've done the YouTubes is to help us all, including myself, because it's so much nicer to talk to informed people. It's just you guys are just picking it up and running and going. There's struggling going on in some places, but you all, for the most part, are kicking butt. So what I want to do is, I'm going to take one of my vacation days. I think I just come in here and just slam all day long. Sometimes I come in here and just hope people don't show up just so I can catch up and talk with you guys because you're such a good bunch of great spiritual people. And it's always nice to rub shoulders with awakened souls. It does the self good, So I thought I would start off this morning by addressing this Cintron's girlfriend and the hair loss, because I'm surprised that some of you didn't get it, and you might have, and I just haven't poured through these. And again, I've been moving, quite a lot of work, and so I am going to catch up. I promise. But stop and think a minute why you lose hair. In the past, the problem with medical theories is that they run rampant. A lot of people assume, and in law, of course, assumption it isn't law. You can assume something, but it doesn't mean it's legal or right. That sort of thing. And I've watched a lot of lawyers and judges, and boy, do they assume. But I assume nothing. It is what it is, and that's all you can do. It's hard not to let the mind assume. And I was doing a spiritual dissertation off of this planet the other night, and I wanted to bring it to you. So I'm going to try to do that. I was talking to a group of souls, and I wanted to bring that down to you, and I'm going to do that here, hopefully before this week's out. But let's think about what takes off hair in the first place. And an assumption is the thyroid gland is the reason one loses hair. Now, this is the way science is. You can see someone with a low thyroid gland and hair loss, and after a while they assume because of the thyroid is weak, it's hair loss. What about the thyroid gland controls hair loss? Now, you could say the parathyroid and calcium utilization could make for a weakened hair, as it does weakened tissue, weakened connective tissue in particular, and skeletal tissue. But what in particular loses hair? One of the most, it's been on the news, there's a clue right there. You see it all the time when you look around. And again, you go back to the fact that the body's just a bunch of cells and two fluids, and the two fluids is blood and lymph, and how many sides of chemistry are there? Only two, the base and the corrosive acids, right? So what's on the news now? This mother would like to have Mattel or whoever makes the Barbie have a bald Barbie. I've never seen a society that just festers on ignorance. It's just unbelievable the trap that the AMA set for the bulk of the people, and they all just fell right in it. And it's just disgusting. There's no conscience of regeneration. There's no idea of curative values, and they keep slaughtering these children with chemo. And so if you said what takes hair loss or hair off, we also know chemo does that, don't we? So what is chemo? Some type of miracle drug? No, it's an extreme strong corrosive acids, correct? Because their idea is to kill, acidify. There's so much wrong with allopathy that it needs to just be rubbed off and started over again, but with the principles of science, chemistry and physics and nature, because there's so much. And again, we talked about this before. The problem with observation of science is that then the mind comes in, and the mind is a conditioned instrument, of course. So now we start trying to rationalize, categorize, and in some way try to understand what we're observing through the context of the conditioned state. And that conditioned state is based upon other people's concepts and ideas. Blah, 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 blah. So bottom line, hair loss, acids, lymph, correct? So when you go vegan, what does this mean? You cut out animal products, does that make you healthy? Heck no, there's nothing healthy about the vegan diet. You got to be a raw foodist. And a raw foodist is the next step. Get rid of the grains and stuff. So if you're telling me someone was losing their hair, they changed to a vegan diet and wondered why their hair kept losing, do you understand why? Because they didn't move what? They didn't correct what? That's right, they didn't correct the cause of the problem. Yeah, they could have went raw foodist and probably still she could have had her hair fall out. Why? Because until she gets her kidneys and her adrenals filtering that lymph, she could be a fruitarian and still have hair loss. You got to get this because it's real important to understand the lymph system, acids, and the role the kidneys and adrenal glands have in this role. We have to pave new pathways as we are on this site because the medical doctor has a lot of theories, and a lot of people have come to, and even the medical doctors themselves have come to take theories for fact. You see this in college a lot. It's almost better if you don't go to school and you educate yourself because you're working with theories in science. Even though they say this is factual, but let me tell you something. I left science years ago because if you start intellectually tearing something apart with the ability to observe and know the whole, you're going to get real frustrated. You're going to see truth squeezing through cracks of illusion and assumptions that man's working on that has no validity whatsoever. Like the lymph system dumps into the vascular system. You dump your acid waste back into the blood. What an antiquated theory. How about the theory of Jenner and Pasteur, the bacterium theory, the theory of pathogens? Stupid. And because of that, the AMA has suppressed so many people's lymph systems that if you had to say who's the most responsible for cancer, it's going to be the AMA. I'm sorry, but it's right spot on. You cannot suppress the body's functions. And when you don't understand what a fever is, when you don't understand what sweating is, when you don't understand what pain is, what swelling is, what tumors are and cysts are, I think you should turn in your degree because these things are very, very, very simple and has been known for hundreds of years, and yet we still have the ignorance. When you'll cut out somebody's lymph node for nothing, understanding there are cells on the other side of that lymph node that's using that lymph node as a septic tank to dump their waste into, and once you remove the septic tank, then those cells do not have a pathway, and then you develop some degree of lymphedema, later to only get kicked in the butt with extreme deterioration of cells, becomes problematic. So Centron's girlfriend's got to get her kidneys and her adrenals and move those lymphs. And you're going to see this. And what's neat about this is you could take her and Centron, take your girlfriend as an experiment, get her up on fruits and vegetables. That's it. All right? Now, see if her hair still gets lost. If her hair still falls out, what's not happening? And if you want to see the difference between vegetable detoxification and fruit detoxification, put her on a vegetable detox. You're still going to probably see her hair fall out. Until you get deep into her lymphatic system, she's still going to have that problem. So please keep that in mind, that you're going to have cases, guys, where you have to understand if they don't move lymph no matter what they're eating, if you don't move lymph, you don't start fixing the kidneys and the adrenals, your success is going to be minimal. You're going to feel better, no question, but your success at these deeper issues are going to be very minimal, and you're going to wonder, this doesn't work. This isn't a problem. No, we have serious problems, and I've been bringing you guys along with this because you're seeing the difficulty in it. Some of you are getting excellent results super quick. Others you see are coming along. So don't get frustrated, any of you guys. It takes time. And for practitioners, all of you, I need as many of you guys to be practitioners as possible. And you must realize that you're a cheerleader to your client. Because once they understand what you're going to tell them and what you're going to teach them, then it's a long, some people have a very long and arduous process to get into this and to get their body cleaned out. Some people's lymph systems are beyond belief. If you've been a milk drinker most of your life, and the older you are, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. And I'd like to take all these people and go to the American Dairies Association and sit them down and say, now you're going to pay for all these people's time to get well and everything, since you've been promoting the clogging of people's lymph systems for the sake of nothing, because you know pasteurized milk is a piece of crap, is nothing. So it's just the lies that are festering for the financial needs of man, and it's like, ooh. Okay, now, I want to say another thing. Central, I don't care if you had chicken, and I don't care I want people to know, I don't care if you eat meat. I don't care if you have eggs. I don't care actually what you eat. However, if you want to detoxify, there's only one way, in my opinion. There's aberrations of that. There's all kinds of side roads to detoxification. But if you want to dig deep, in my opinion, I spent 40 years tearing it apart, and we're not stupid here. We've tore it apart. We've looked at this because our goal is always to do better. Not to make money, to do better, to heal people faster, to make it more comfortable for you. This is how I'm thinking. How can I make your journey in detoxification more comfortable? How can I dig deeper quicker? How can I get the kidneys opened up? And I need all your brains to help me, because I've done this all my life. I need to turn it over to you guys and let you guys take off. Dr. Jensen met with me one day, called me out there, and he said, listen, I'm done. I want you to take the reins. I said, Doc, I don't want to take the reins. I don't want to take your iridology, international iridology. I don't want that. And so, you know what? He was a little offended, and I said, no, I have my own practice. I love the iris, because him and I knew each other, were good iridologists. You know, we shared a lot of information that we each have learned through all the years. And you do. If you use iridology and correlate it with detoxification, boy, the things you learn that's beyond the books. Someday I'll write a book on iridology and highlight those things that I've learned about the eye that no one's talking about. We'll talk about it when I see you in school. But it's just, I don't care about the meat. Have I eaten meat in my past? Absolutely. The duck, I have to laugh, Centron. Absolutely. Dr. Jensen invited, when I invited him to Portugal after we did his seminar in Toronto, and it was hard to eat raw anyway, so we went to a Chinese place so I could eat vegetables, and boy, Doc Jensen ordered about 10 different plates of food, and duck. He loved duck, he loved veal, he loved those sort of things. Well, not on the book. I tasted it, but I don't care for animal products, and I definitely don't care for duck and stuff like that.